Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode on Charmila Talkies. This week we have a special guest by name Deepak Nagabhushana, who's in a very different profile called Localization. I'm not sure if any of you have heard of this before. When I met him, this is the first time that I had heard about it, and he has agreed to give a talk. I got his time after chasing him for a month. So, without further delay, let's go ahead and get started. Hey, Deepak. Good morning.
Hi Sharmila, good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks. Thank you so much, Deepak, for taking time. I know you have a pretty busy schedule. We've been talking about this for quite a few weeks, and finally we got to talk today. Thank you so much for making this time today.
Anytime.
Okay. Yeah. So, Deepak, you know how this kind of works. So, probably we could just get started with your introduction, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sure. Okay, so hi everyone, my name is Deepak. Basically, I'm from a place called Mysore, and Mysore is a city of palaces, and it's also a heritage city.
Okay.
And so I have got around 18 plus years of experience in localization program management, localization vendor management, budget management, stakeholder management, and localization tools, which means text tags and content management. I discovered myself in the area of localization, and it's a pleasure being able to communicate worldwide and spread messages to the world and applying my personal touch in day to day work. Yeah, this is about my quick introduction.
Sure. Like I said, Deepak, thank you so much for that. See, I never knew something called localization even existed. That's a field, right?
Hmm.
So I'm not sure many people who are watching this know about that.
Correct.
So if you could tell what is localization, we'll
Hmm.
get a better context to it, maybe.
Sure. Okay, so localization is like giving regional and cultural touch to the product or to the content for a specific
Huh?
local market.
Okay.
Localization is very much essential for the global business. This is something all the companies should think of from the early stage of their business. It's an opportunity to increase revenue for any of the companies, and when the companies are thinking to get into the global or international market, the
Okay.
localization is very much needed,
Okay.
especially in today's era when buyers are no longer limited by the geography, because when
Okay.
companies are thinking to get into any of their business across the world, so localization comes into the picture, and customers around the world I expect to see the content in their own native language. I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
the companies should always provide the tailored solution and experiences in the customer's local language. This is what the global customer expects always. And this is
Okay.
where the localization comes into the picture. So companies
Okay.
should always have kind of global first mindset. So one line answer is localization is all about winning global customers' mind and hearts, so that companies can expand their global footprint and increase revenue.
Got it, got it. So basically customizing it based on the region so that it's very familiar to them and they can connect to it
Exactly,
instead of it being in a foreign language, which probably, the connection makes a little
exactly,
difficult. Got it, got
exactly.
it.
It's also kind of localizing the content, which means tailored the content as per their the customer's interest, and also the localization of the product.
Okay, okay, okay. So basically they understand it better when it's in their language rather when it's
Exactly.
the universal English
Correct.
language. Got it, got it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Deepak, like I've been telling, right? How did you get into this field? How did you know about there's a profile called localization, and today you definitely are an expert in this. So how did you even get to know about this and get started off in this area?
Yeah. So thanks for asking this question. So this is my kind of a very interesting journey and interesting story. And I always like to explain this to everyone.
Okay.
So basically, I did my post graduation degree in nuclear physics. So yeah, it's a completely different field, and it's really interesting journey from nuclear physics to localization, which is where I am today. And
Yeah.
after my post graduation, I had a plan to do my doctoral program in physics, which is PhD in physics. In the
Okay.
meanwhile, a career focus took a turn into IT industry. I've completed my post graduation in 2003. So, like as everybody knows, that during 2003, IT was kind of
Yeah.
very much
Yeah. We had
booming
a
in
downfall.
India.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I originally fell into localization via one of the job at one of the computer service company, and it hasn't looked back since 2003. And from the early days, I was managing the localization process for a large global corporations, learning on the
Mm-hmm.
job about the project and vendor management and content and workflows and above all
Mm-hmm.
the language technology.
Okay.
um, so in my first company, they wanted to localize their website into 30 international languages. So that's how I got
Ah,
an opportunity to learn more about the localization. And
okay.
then after that, and then after that, I joined again one of the multinational company as a web engineer, and I was again given an opportunity to manage the localization workflows of their websites in 35 international languages. And after that, then again I got a very good opportunity to learn end-to-end localization program management in a huge computer based and multinational
Mm-hmm.
organization. And there I got an opportunity to learn more about the end-to-end program management, which includes managing the stakeholders in a wider organization and managing the
Okay.
budget of the localization programs, and managing the different tech stacks of localization, which is called as translation management system,
Okay.
to do the automation from end-to-end perspective. And
Okay.
afterwards, I joined Citrix actually, and where a spin-off merger, and then eventually took me to go to where I am today. Yeah,
Okay.
this is my overall journey in the IT industry in the localization domain.
Sure.
It's
It's
a
pretty
pretty
interesting.
interesting journey, actually.
Exactly,
Exactly.
right? It's pretty interesting that you kind of stumbled upon an opportunity and made that your career, right? I think there's not a small, how do I say this? Not an iota of similarity between what you studied, PhD in physics versus nuclear
Correct.
physics, what you're doing in localization.
Exactly.
But I think it's like how you kind of grab that opportunity and made it your career, and you're like, and like I said, this is an area which not many people are even aware that it kind of exists,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And so that's definitely great that you kind of you stumbled upon it by chance and you kind of made that your success, right? So maybe Deepak, you can if you can enlighten by going ahead and telling what are the various opportunities in the localization field, and what should one basically do if they want to make this their domain, make this as their career domain. What are some of the
Hmm.
suggestions that you've been doing this for the last, like probably almost 2 decades now, close to two
Yes.
decades?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that will
Yeah.
definitely help if you can shed some light on that.
Sure. Yeah, there are quite a lot of opportunities in localization domain.
Uh-huh.
I would say opportunities are more in Western countries, especially in
Oh,
United States and Europe. In
okay.
Asia, it's actually less. I mean, it's more, but compared to Western countries, the opportunities are less.
Okay.
Now, the more and more companies are realizing the importance of localization. And
Okay.
since companies have started to realize the importance of expansion of the global footprints, the opportunities are
Hmm.
really increasing in localization domain.
Okay.
There are quite a lot of roles in this field, starting from project management. There is something called localization engineering and
Oh,
localization testing. Yeah, learning about the workflows of the tool, like managing the localization tech stack administration and managing the budget for the localization programs, and then managing the freelance translators, stakeholder engagement managers, yeah, and market research. And there is a very interesting role called terminology manager, and then linguistic quality manager, managing the end-to-end localization programs.
Mhm.
There are quite a lot actually. Yeah, and when it comes to a matter of studying the localization education, there are few degrees in India related to translation studies where it provides the opportunity for candidates candidates to get into this domain. But outside
Mhm.
of India, there are quite a lot of educational degrees which are specific to localization related field, and also studying the language related degrees, which will also help candidates to get into localization field. But overall, I would say it's still a niche domain, but believe me, it's a fantastic field where one can get an opportunity to work with global teams. Yeah,
Okay.
I think, yeah, one of the advice for the educational institutions, especially in India, to introduce more these kind of degrees. I know
Right.
some degrees are there related to translation studies, which also includes Master of Arts in French, German, etc. But yeah, it would be also good for the educational institutes to introduce some of the technical aspects of localization domain related studies. Yeah, but
Right.
overall, yeah, opportunities are more. Yeah,
Wow. Okay. I didn't know something. I mean, from an education perspective, also something like this existed. Probably I'm like too, I haven't kind of drilled down that side at all. But it's really good to know that there are courses specific to this. I knew about the translation
exactly.
part of it, right? But I didn't know that it
Yeah.
kind of played such an important role even in the IT industry as such.
Hmm.
Right? That's pretty interesting. And like you said, uh, in Asia Pacific, it seems to be low, but more opportunities in the US and Europe. And it's now
Exactly.
that we are realizing. So I think going forward, we would have more opportunities. And then I also
Exactly.
have seen you working, so I do understand that, it's a very niche domain, and that's why you're like always super busy. I know you're the only one who's based out of our office where I used to work along with you, right? And
Yeah.
I think you've never had a team here. You have a couple of people located in different
Correct.
offices across the globe. It's never
Exactly.
like, three-member, five-member, or a 10-member team ever that you have. So
Correct.
it definitely shows that it's a niche domain and everything is in your hands alone, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I think, if continuing on the same lines, right, Deepak,
Hmm.
since you've been here for such a long time, I also know you have some of your publications, which
Hmm.
speaks a lot about this area, which
Hmm.
not many people have enough knowledge, at least as much as I know of, and a
Hmm.
couple of other people that I've spoken to as well.
Hmm.
Right. So if you could talk about your publications, how did that even happen? How did you go about it? And
Hmm.
what was the reason to kind of get that going?
Hmm.
You've had like how many publications have you had now, Deepak?
It's more than 7 publications worldwide
Wow.
so far. Yeah,
Yeah. I know the recent one was like a couple of months ago, which came out internationally, right?
correct.
Maybe you could
Exactly.
shed some light on that and then go backwards because that's the recent one that you had.
Sure. Yeah, sure. So far, some of my articles talks about the interviews have been published worldwide. It's all about the topics related to a machine translation and localization
Okay.
strategy, and also about my personal interview, which includes my career journey in the localization field.
Okay.
And I can talk about one of my recent interview published in a magazine called Multilingual Magazine. So basically, this multilingual magazine has providing the language industry related content with in-depth news and articles from more than 25 plus years. It always
Mm-hmm.
comes with a rich information of all the subjects related to the localization domain. Yeah,
Okay.
so overall, till now, seven interviews and publications have been published
Wow.
worldwide so far. Yeah,
Sure. Amazing, amazing, Deepak. That's really amazing. I know how difficult it is to even get a paper published. And having
yeah,
these kind of publications is definitely like hats off to you, right? So
right.
probably you should
Thank
tell
you.
this, Deepak, right? For being knowing you, you're a very simple person, down to earth, who's like in one corner. It's like who's that guy sitting there? You're like all by yourself, just doing your work, and you just come into office, do your work, have lunch, and you leave, right? So what is it? If you could call your secret to where you are today in terms of work, in terms of your success, in terms of growth, in terms of choosing an area which you hardly knew, and now you already have had seven publications in the last 17 years internationally, right? What is that secret to this growth that you've had in your career? Maybe if you can
Uh,
share that.
Secret is all about the patience and always interest to learn more things or yeah,
Okay.
talk to your peers, colleagues, and attend the conferences to gain more knowledge. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Nice.
yeah.
Okay. So
But
basically, it's
overall, I would say always the patience is a key factor here
important.
for anybody's success.
Okay, why would you emphasize so much on patience rather than so many other factors that I've heard in the past?
Really, it's very difficult to answer in one line, actually.
Okay,
Yeah,
I guess basically it's to do with the language and conversion and all of that stuff. Would that be one
yeah,
of the key roles, maybe?
exactly, exactly.
Okay, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I think you definitely are a patient person as much as I've known you, and I think the whole company also kind of knows that. Cool. I think this is the first time that hearing patience is a key to my success. So good, good. I think that's definitely one of the lessons as well, right?
Yeah,
So apart from the so-called localization lead or successor, right? What are some of the things that you enjoy doing when you are not working? I know you have a daughter who also had her paper published again a month
correct.
ago, right after your paper
Yes,
was published,
correct.
right? It was,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So you,
exactly.
so she's already in the prodigy making, right? So
Right, yeah.
congratulations on that too. It's her name is Vijaya,
Thank
if I
you.
remember.
Yes, correct.
Right? Yeah. So what else do you do when you have free time apart from, being patient and working on localization?
Yeah, the things I enjoy the most when I'm not working is mainly traveling. I love
Ah,
spending time with family at the beautiful
okay.
beach resorts. I feel I'm more connected to the water, when I sit on the beach side and start looking into the waves. It really kind of relaxes the mind. And yeah,
Okay.
Goa is my all-time favorite destination.
Favorite.
Yeah. I also
Right.
like motorbike riding and I love flying. Yeah,
Nice, nice. It's pretty nice to know, Deepak. I think water Goa is like synonymous, right? I know
yeah,
so many people Goa as their favorite destination. But yeah,
correct.
I hope you take vacation like a proper vacation and you're not on vacation working on something on localization by the beach side. And it's a proper vacation, right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Deepak, for taking time and talking. This definitely was one of the first times that I've interviewed a person whose area is so unknown to me, and I'm definitely sure this is going to help a lot of people who watch this and
Hmm.
probably even try this area, maybe And if you allow me, I can share some of your publication links that may be useful for some of the others who
Sure.
would be interested to know further. Yeah.
Hmm. Sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Deepak. Yeah, go
Thanks,
ahead. You have
Sharmila. Yeah, I would like to thank you for inviting me to your YouTube channel. I wish you success for the future talks. In case if there is a demand from your subscribers to learn more about the localization, I'm really happy to deep dive into one more talk. Until then,
sure.
take care.
Definitely, Deepak. Thank you so much for giving that offer. I will go ahead and check that out. Let's see how this goes, and probably we can do another one as well if required, or maybe they can reach out to you directly if I can share your LinkedIn details in the channel. Yeah, if that's okay with you.
Sure, Sharmila.
Cool. Thank you
Yeah,
so much, Deepak. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for taking time today, and you have a good day.
likewise.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye bye.